After 9 weeks of big plays, classic games, and memorable moments, it all comes down to this. Week 10 of the Woods Watch Party with an Ivy League title on the line. The Big Green hosting Princeton on Senior Day with the Tigers hungry to play spoiler. But for the first time in almost 20 years, the Big Green knew opportunity was knocking to raise the trophy at season's end. Welcome back one last time to the Woods Watch Party, everybody. I'm Tyler Murray, Dartmouth ESPN Plus football broadcaster, and it's our season finale in more ways than one. It's our last episode of the Woods Watch Party here on the Gridiron, and it's the final game of the 2015 season. The Big Green in our virtual schedule looking to go 10-0 with a trophy perhaps at the end. So you know we brought in a great cast of characters, players, and coaches to join us to break this one down. Dartmouth against Princeton for a share for the championship for the Big Green up for grabs. First, let's check in with New Jersey. Number 99 on the defensive line. Look out for A.J. Zutat today. What's going on, A.J.?
Hey, nothing much. Thanks for having me, guys. Super excited to be here.
Great to have you as well. And on the other line, the offensive lineman, number 63, it's Jacob Flores in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys picked a good game here. I know the ending, so I'm glad we picked this one.
Packers jersey in the background there for Jacob. That's good stuff. And then we'll go to Hanover. We couldn't do the season finale without Coach T himself. Buddy Stevens. Hey, Coach.
Great to be here again, and certainly couldn't have two finer representatives. Man, they both played great games in this finale against Princeton. So I have high expectations as they announced tonight.
Let's roll the tape as we're going to have a grinded-out, gritty battle, low-scoring early, plenty of excitement late. I want each of you guys to answer. We'll start with Coach T, then AJ, then Jacob. What's the emotion coming into this game? Everybody knows it's been a long time since the last Ivy League title. It's all here in front of you, but against a really tough Princeton team. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, our guys were excited and ready to go. Sometimes you worry about guys being too hyped. Too emotional. But I think there was a great confidence in guys like Jacob, kind of a seasoned vet, AJ, a seasoned vet. You know, they kind of had things under control. There was a lot of confidence as we took the field.
First quarterback coming out.
Absolutely. To be honest, this was the most emotional that I've ever been in a football game. One, because obviously we have the opportunity to go in and win a championship, if we come out the victors at the end. But on top of that, for many of us, the seniors, it's our last game. And even for the guys who had dreams of going to the NFL, like myself, we always knew that this could be the last hurrah. And so I went out there. I couldn't even control myself. Was crying, I think, for the entire first drive. So it was definitely a high emotional game for me.
Yeah, I would just echo what those guys said. I remember coming in our freshman year, as a group, the class of 2016 said, we're going to be the group that brings back the title to Hanover. And to have a chance to do that in our last game together, everyone was fired up. And especially since it was Princeton, I know Coach Stevens always tells a story every year about Princeton and when he visited there as a kid. And so, we always get fired up playing Princeton that week, even though it's finals week, of course.
And the story coming in was on the Princeton side, they wanted to play spoiler to pay you back for, I guess, 2013. You broke up their perfect season. So as they break off a big run here, I want to get your guys' scouting report. And we'll start with you, AJ, because you're on the defensive side. I mean, they've got this great quarterback, Henoff, and obviously a good running game. And we know about their receivers' history. What was the key for you guys to slowing down this offense?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we always knew that Princeton always had a high-powered offense. Every year they're, in the tops in the league on their offensive side of the ball. And this year was no exception. So we knew we had to, do a great job up front. We knew we had to do a good job slowing them down. They're all about high tempo, a lot of lateral movement. get you kind of going one way and then come back the other way. So you see there, coming up with a really big play, getting a big turnover. We knew we had to be solid up front and make sure we could keep them under control. That actually, I think, was one of the biggest runs on the season for this defense that you just saw there. So we wanted to make sure that we were stout up front and stop them from going laterally.
Got down into Dartmouth territory, but they caused a fumble. Was that Radigan?
A great turnover right there. Obviously, slowing down a very potent Princeton offense. That just engenders confidence on both sides of the football. You get decent field position. The offense sees a big play by our defense, and it kind of rallies people. So
that was a 33-yard run for Joe Radigan of Princeton, but then stripped and recovered by Cody Fullerton. So a big play, defensive playmaker that time to turn the tide early.
And Cody was definitely, a great player for us. Definitely a high motor guy, super hard worker. But when he's on the field, you could hear him, and if you're on the other side of the ball, you could definitely feel him. He plays super hard, super strong guy, but would definitely let you know he's there.
Yeah, he would talk a good game, and people say he was just a consummate tough guy. And the whole group, the defensive front, man, they just made things happen. Backed up Willie Mack right back there, just working his game as usual. Guys kept playing with greater confidence as game moved on.
Yeah, that entire class of 16 defensive line, I had to block them in practice for 4 years, and they all had their skills. I mean, AJ was, as you'll see in this game, AJ was very good with his hands. That's one thing, being able to block him, you just couldn't keep your hands on him. Cody was a different player. He was more of a bull rush, go through you type of guy. But as you see, we had one of the best defenses, because of those guys up front. So that's one thing I'd say to watch for is just watch the way Zuda plays with his hands, gets extension, and then Cody will just go through people, and his motor, I think, were some of his strengths.
It's Ryan McManus coming up with another nice play, catch and run, and Dalen Williams. Dalen is engaged, from what I know. Jake, you're down in Texas. You probably heard the word too.
He is. Yeah. Dalen is. He's going to be a father as well. So I gave him a text the other day because we have a 4-month-old, and I said it's a life changer, Dalen. So
that's right. He's getting ready to have a beautiful baby boy. As you guys know, Dalen's one of my best friends in the world, and I'm really upset that can't go down there and kind of visit him, see his family, especially for a time that's so important for him. But obviously rooting for him, wishing health upon him and his family, and can't wait to welcome his son into the world.
Yeah.
It's a neat thing, just remembering sitting in your living rooms when you're 17, 18 years old, and just seeing the time creep on and where these guys are all going. That's a special thing about Dartmouth.
Yeah, I remember being Dalen and I were on the same flight up to Hanover for our visit, and we're like, "Are you going for a football visit?" And we're like, yeah. And so we kind of just made a pact, like, okay, wherever you go, let's go turn this thing around. Coach Darrell Jackson was recruiting us at the time, and we just believed in him. And then once Coach T came down to Dallas, we were sold. So.
And there he goes, ripping off a big run, as Dalen likes to do. Super athletic, super quick, great vision, and he can hurt you with his arm, but he can really, really hurt you with his legs. Another big run here for him.
As you look at like some of the guys, Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and guys that just they will keep plays alive, and Dalen did this frequently. The offensive line did a great job protecting him, but if they're coverage downfield or a little seam up front, he was always dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, Flores, let me ask you something. How was it blocking for Dalen when you knew, even if you were wrong, if you missed, maybe he'd make you right, or, was it easier blocking for him? Was it harder blocking for him, knowing he could run like that?
Yeah, that's one of the tough parts about playing offensive line is you don't have eyes in the back of your head, especially with, a guy as mobile as Dalen. What I learned is you got to keep blocking to the whistle because he just kept plays alive and just got us out of trouble, when we didn't make our blocks sometimes. So I would just say I learned playing to block to the whistle no matter what.
Yeah, I remember very vividly going against him in practice. Even when you think you got him down, you really never do. Play's not over till the play's over.
He was elusive. Just and aware. He had kind of that sixth sense, and all of a sudden you're creeping up on the blind side, and off he goes.
Man, we're putting together a drive here. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. And I'm trying to think when I got out of the black, and I think I'm still in there.
They started. Yeah, you saw it there, but they sent an all-out blitz. So usually when teams get in the red zone, they send pressure, and they sent 7 there. We had to get rid of the ball, so 4th down.
Jake, you might, as we look at the offensive line, you might just run left to right, or some of the offensive person, your buddies, and where they are now.
Yeah, no doubt. Maybe next time we get on offense, I'll run through that line we had from the fall of 15.
I do love when you guys don't quite know how a drive is going to end, and I don't think anyone could have predicted a field goal miss at that stage. But speaking of that offensive line, I got a note here, 29 of Dalen Williams' 32 career starts. You were on that O-line, Jacob. Was it center the entire time? And how important is it to develop that kind of chemistry? I mean, you guys must have had some of the best packages and protections and signal callings and communication that anyone did in the Ivy League.
Yeah, I think so. I think actually my freshman year I played defense, and I was so far down the depth chart behind Zuda and some of the good freshmen that we had that Coach Stevens tapped me and said, "Hey, you're going with Keith Clark, and you're going down the hall here." So my freshman year, I kind of spent learning, and then my sophomore and junior year, I took over as the left tackle. And then senior year, we lost a bunch of older guys, so I stepped in at center to make some of the calls. But just before every week, Dalen and I would get on the same page, make sure we were in sync, especially the senior year. But between a quarterback and a center, communication's big at every level. But when you play teams that start blitzing, like you'll see Princeton did today, you really got to communicate where the slide's going, who we're picking up, stuff like that.
Yeah, you really, I would tell you, there's a lot of thinking that goes in the offensive line, just recognizing even secondary locations, safeties. It may be predetermined who's going to be actually blitzing, pressuring, coming. And Jake did a great job. I mean, started at a tackle, at a guard, at a center position. He had them all covered and really understood the flow of the game, and it made it much more productive for us up front.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I remember when you made the switch over to the offensive line, and obviously we're all super surprised, to lose one of our own. But it's kind of like the light side and dark side because we were just battling so much. But I remember the massive difference when you moved over to the center position. Obviously, we had a ton of battles in practice, and I just kept thinking, man, he's really good. He's really good at directing the offensive line. He's really good at getting everybody under control. But he never really made many mistakes. And I definitely remember, just when you made that switch, I was like, he's going to have a shot. And sure enough, he did. It was great, having a lot of fun, having battles, me pretending to scoop up this ball right here. It's fun.
Come on, dude. We got to take that. We did have a lot of battles in practice. That's a good 3 and out by the defense right there. You guys gave us a lot of opportunities in this game. I think it took us till the second half to get it together. But yeah, we'll see what we do on offense right here.
Special teams, we always do a nice job. Sam McCorkle's been coaching the special teams for a long period of time for us, and we're always a threat. Guys do a nice job maintaining blocks down the field. And Brian McManus was special with his skills and abilities. And you see guys just black shirts just getting in the way. That's all you have to do is screen some. Nice run back.
Mac is an amazing player, man. And you look at him and you would never guess that he was as special and as electrifying as he was in the field. I remember, thinking, this kid, this one, family legacy, him, all of his brothers, everybody's super good, and it just never really, crossed my mind that he would be as good of a player as he was. But he made so many plays for us, as you see with him running that one back right there. Special teams, offense, he did it all.
He was shifty for sure. Well, I mean, if we got the ball into his hands, we knew. I know Dalen always looked for him. If not first, then second. He knew Rymack was going to get open.
Yeah, great hands, great route runner. Great separation. He really could do it all.
Are there any other younger brothers we can look forward to of the McMahon or we got to go next generation next?
Well, no, we were pushing the parents real aggressively, but we missed out. The run has ended.
I think his little sister might still be there now. Maybe give her a shot. Give her a little try out on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, she was quite an athlete in the track program.
That's right.
She probably had good hands like the rest of those guys as well.
I'm sure she did.
I was going to say, you're breaking barriers in the coaching ranks, certainly gender-wise, Coach T. So it doesn't sound like too big of a reach to get him on the field either, but maybe a few years down the line.
Yeah. Don't be surprised, though. Our guys are doing a nice job just kind of mixing up calls. Oh,
not a good one.
Can't do that one.
Can't turn over the ball in football. It kind of looked like we were running power there. So on this play, Dalen has the option to shovel it to the running back. The running back's supposed to follow Nico, the right guard, pulling around right here. It just looks like he caught it and then just got a hand in there. But Dalen here has the option to shovel it or continue going outside.
It's Brian Grove. Brian's down in Florida now, doing a great job in the business world. And just, someone got the ball, hand on the ball. Yes, the defensive group not going to step up. Tough field position. And again, an emotional swing. Let's see what we do.
That's right. Turnovers will definitely kill you. They'll help you out if you can get them yourself. But if you lose a turnover battle, that's a rough go for you that day.
Zach Slavsky, number 30. He was very, very steady for us. Linebacker out of Miami. And Willie Macko, 44.
Zach Slavsky, another guy who made a huge jump from his sophomore to junior year and then junior year to senior year. I remember he came in to camp and was seemingly twice as fast as he was the year before. Nobody knew what he did. Nobody knew where he went to train. But he came in this year really ready to make a difference, and he definitely did that, made a huge impact for us. On the defensive side of the ball, our whole senior year. He was a great player.
Hey, the guys are all bringing it. Brandon Cooper's in there to play. Zach Hussein. Both those guys are very successful in the business world. Coop went on to SMU's graduate business program.
That's right. And he's also down in Dallas with you, Flores.
Yeah. Oh, look at number 9 right there. Talk a little bit about Flo. What would you call him, Coach T? I forgot what your nickname was for him.
Yeah. Flo was just, he was wild.
Yeah.
He would absolutely get after it. You would watch him run, but just relentless. Yeah. It's been fun. He's still playing. In the Canadian League, they can't season, but he's still under contract.
Yeah.
And actually just took a job with a former player of ours, Tommy Lynch, down in the D.C. area during the offseason.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Flo was a super athletic guy. very low to the ground, great leverage, super explosive off the ball, and he was an amazing pass rusher. And even as a junior, was one of the best on the defensive side of the ball, and his senior year was no exception.
Yeah, he had a great get off. So just being able to time that snap gives you such an advantage. And then, like Zuda said, he played real low to the ground. So if you're a tackle trying to block him, it forces you to kind of overcommit outside, and that opens up the inside for him as a rusher.
Yeah, we do a nice job. Dwayne Brooks has been coaching the defensive line for a while. You guys can comment on AJ about Dwayne, but he rolls a lot of folks through, and they all play hard and they play well together. It's not, I'm not playing enough. It's, hey, I'm making something happen when I'm playing.
That's right. Coach Brooks, amazing guy, but great coach. He had a great way of just giving each one of his players confidence. So no matter who was playing, no matter who was coming in, freshman, sophomore, all the way up to senior, those guys believed that they could come in and make a difference. And just having, especially as a young guy, having that type of confidence and your coach be able to back you really makes all the difference. So he's been a great addition to the team. I remember he came in our end of sophomore year, going into junior year, and was really able to bring, especially the young guys along, but helped coach up all the defensive line guys. Still doing it today, still making a lot of all ID products. Coach Wayne Brooks is doing a great job over there.
Yeah, and he's also the NFL liaison too. So just the amount of experience he's had coaching some guys that have gone on, and the connections he has too. I remember Coach T recruiting both of us. AJ, he said, "I want guys that can play in the NFL," and so I think it's kind of cool to have someone on the staff who has those connections like Coach Brooks does.
Absolutely. One of the biggest reasons I
big guys of Bramble, the little screen spreading it around. Stephen Johnson had a nice catch a little bit ago. Victor Williams out of Oklahoma made a catch. Here's another one by Victor.
Yes, yeah.
Explosive guy, just great quickness, great speed, not great size, but man, he played big.
Yeah, super fast, and he's actually doing boxing. He's a trainer now. He's got his own, striving to get his own gym, and he's, I think as good of shape as he's ever been in his entire life.
He looks pretty scary. I know he's thinking about fighting professionally and stuff like that, and I wouldn't want to step in the ring with number one there.
Yeah. If we don't watch, he's going to be stronger than us soon.
Yeah.
KJ Booz, another Oklahoma product.
That's right.
We had a big old Zach Dave. Zach was probably the biggest guy we had, 68 in the right tackle position.
Yeah, Zach did a great job. He came in, and I think Coach Clark, he really bought into what Coach Clark was teaching. He's one of those guys that had the size and just needed a little bit of coaching and experience from someone like Coach Clark, and he turned him into a starter and a really good player for us.
I think you mentioned KJ Booz. I think was another guy who needed some coaching. Came in. I think he switched sides of the ball. I think twice actually. I think he started on offense, switched to defense, went back to offense. But always willing to do whatever it took to help the team succeed. And then once he actually got his bearings on the offensive side of the ball, really helped us, stepped in and made a big difference when he did.
And just unfortunate, we had kind of a deflection, ball pops up in the air, but another turnover, and those are upsetting from an offensive standpoint. You just the frustration. You're not finishing off plays, because we're making some plays, we're just not finishing.
That's right. And that's our second turnover today, and now two turnovers going back the other way.
Okay, Coop.
Big Coop.
That's right. We got some dudes, big Coop, making plays, coming in, off the bench, and any of those guys could step up at any moment. And Coop very strong, very quick, had some great moves in his repertoire. He showed it right there. But, keeping the turnover battle even was definitely a key to victory, for whatever team won this day. I don't know who it was, but we'll see.
I can tell you that there is at least one more turnover coming later in the game, and it's pretty decisive. But here, guys, it felt like those 2 drive-killing turnovers, but you almost never see that. They give it right back to you, Coach T. So are you looking to go for the throw it here to really make them pay for it, or are you just sticking with the same game plan, you think?
Well, you just got to stay with it and just encourage the guys to hold on to the football. You can't oversell it, but everybody knows. I mean, if you give it away, it's not a good thing for your program. But where it's back and forth, we give one up, we take one away. Everybody's right on point in the game. Left side, nice job on the left side, Josh Clark and David Morrison. A nice inside zone with Brian Grove, number 5.
Yeah, I actually went to Josh Clark's wedding this past summer. He's another guy that just got married. He's in sales now. He's doing really well. So, he's a guy that I would have never met without Dartmouth football. Now, he's one of my best friends. So that's just one thing. That was kind of cool that brought us together. Coach Stevens recruiting us. So.
You look at the guys across the board. You guys can chime in. Lake Havasu, Arizona. We've got upstate New York, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Minneapolis, Texas, Fort Lauderdale.
Houston.
That's a beauty of a place like Dartmouth.
Yeah. Yeah, some of my closest friends from all over the U.S., Dalen from Dallas, Cody, Seattle, who's out in Montana now, Slavsky down in Miami, just guys from all over, but come together, play together, and now we're family. It's really great to see.
I make comment every year in preseason. We have the young guys as they turn into our freshmen. And I say, look around the room. You've just met each other and some of your best friends in life. You don't know them yet, but they're sitting right here. And it's funny. It's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. So I'll give Princeton a little bit of credit. Their defense, going into this game, we kind of prepared for a 3-down front, and they didn't really blitz a ton for the first 9 games of the season. And this game, they completely did the opposite. They got in a bare front here. They got in a 4-down front right here, and they brought the pressure. You'll see this linebacker plug here in just a second. Oh, they sent 2 off the edge, and we weren't ready for it. They did a good job disguising in the first half, so hopefully in the second half we make some adjustments, but they lit us up on pressure.
So is that something we saw? Right, Coach?
Jacob, just talk about the halftime adjustments. You see something like that, it's not what we anticipated. There's a lot of scrambling, a lot of drawing and so forth. But the big thing, I think, is maintaining poise and confidence. Hey, we've blocked this front before. We hadn't anticipated quite as much, hadn't anticipated quite as much pressure. But hey, just line up and do what we know.
Yep.
Ben Kepler holding here, and Alex Gackenheimer with the kick. It's his second attempt.
And no good. I'm learning as we go. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened.
Isn't it? It's funny. Sometimes you just you don't remember all these little fine points.
Yeah.
It's Graydon Peterson. Graydon is working with the bank out in Wisconsin right now, doing very, very well. And he was perfect every snap for his 4 years.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, Jacob, let me ask you. You mentioned that play where they, weren't showing a lot of blitz throughout the year, and all of a sudden they, are doing that to us left and right. Is that something we saw from all the teams that we played, that they were switching it up, not really sticking with the game plan? Maybe it was because, we had an electrifying offense, a lot of great players, or just something we saw in Princeton?
Most of the season, it varied by team. So Cornell was a team that liked to pressure. They ran a 3-down front, and they just tried to confuse you to make up for for maybe some of the shortcomings in their front seven up front. When we played a team like Harvard, or when we played you guys in practice, they had a really good front four and a couple of really good thumpers inside. So you don't need to bring pressure and bring all these blitzes. So Harvard played it pretty straight, a 4-down defense, just like you guys see here. Dartmouth, we play a 4-down defense, don't bring a ton of pressure. So, Princeton kind of surprised us by bringing that much heat that day. So
it's a little bit of live by the sword, die by the sword with it. Someone like Dalen in the backfield, if you're going to man up and you're sending people, you better get there because there's a lot of open space. And then the zone blitzes are another thing where you give up areas of the field, put an extra man into pressure, and hope that you get there. And they did. I think they did a nice job right off the bat with us. There were a couple of runs that Dalen made, but again, settling into it and not panicking. That was, I think, the mark of this team. They didn't get back on their heels. It might not be going quite right, and he will figure it out. And they just kept competing.
Sure. And a guy like Dalen can hurt you two ways. One, he can pick you apart, find the open man, which is something you see. Man, another back-breaking turnover here. Not a good one.
Yeah. Those are tough. When you turn the ball over at special teams because it's big yardage and emotion, where they just picked up 40-plus yards on a punt. And the most sure-handed guy we have, it kind of got away from him a little bit. But defense has to answer.
I don't know, AJ. I'll ask you. So you guys just 3 and out, got off the field. What are you thinking running back onto the field here?
Well, I'll tell you, one, as a defensive lineman, you don't want to play too many plays in a row. As many 3 and outs as possible, you want to get off the field. And some of these front guys, Cody and I specifically, almost never came off the field. So it hurts to see, you get a 3 and out and you got to run back on. It's definitely a little bit demoralizing, but I think, our defense was talented enough. We knew that we could, even with the short field, keep them from potentially scoring. So, even though it looks grim, I think we're high confidence guys. We know we can get a stop here. But it definitely hurts. It's not something you want to see.
Zoot, I'll just point out the penetration there. Look over here. That's pretty good by 99. It looked like they're holding it a little bit, but I don't know if they were calling it that day.
A little bit, Flores. Holding, they didn't seem to be calling much. And I think that's something I saw in a lot of games in my career. But yeah, they call what they call, and you play to the whistle.
Well, guys, that actually wraps up the first quarter, and defense dominating. Dartmouth has forced 2 turnovers, 3 3-and-outs. We'll see if they can get another stop when we come back for quarter number 2.
Make your debit card green. Big green. Select from 16 options by visiting any Ledyard Bank location or calling 888-746-4562. Ledyard's online and mobile banking includes free personal mobile check deposit, so you can show all your Dartmouth pride on your home turf. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Pierre LeBlanc, president of Engelberth Construction. For over 40 years, we've been recognized as one of the largest and most dynamic commercial construction companies in northern New England. As a premier builder and partner of Dartmouth Athletics, we have built many facilities on campus. And at Engelberth Construction, we truly believe in building relationships for life. Go Big Green.
All right, we're back for the second quarter. Princeton has second and goal, by far their best scoring opportunity of the game. So what was talked about during that quarter break, AJ, with you guys needing a big stop here?
Well, look, we definitely knew that we needed to do our jobs, and the least amount of points we can come away with, the better for the rest of the game. So we can hold them to a field goal, or get a turnover. That's better than letting them get 7. But we knew up front they're not going to go up the middle. They're really going and moving a lot laterally and trying to force a lot of the outside guys to make plays. So we knew, guys had to step up on the edge, contain and keep them from getting around the corner. You'll see. Hopefully, we keep them to that.
I think they got you on a face mask penalty just there.
No, AJ wouldn't. He would not do that.
Yeah. No,
couldn't happen.
Never.
Well, that's how you respond to something like that, especially in a tight game. We knew obviously we're at home. There's a lot on the line, but just maturity and leadership. Just say we're okay. Keep playing.
That's right. We know we're good enough offense to come back and score. We know we're a good enough defense to hold them to not scoring too many more points in the game. So, they score a touchdown. So what? Forget about it. Move on. Short memory, and keep it moving.
And you guys can both comment on this, obviously as seniors, but the senior leadership. Mature guys that don't panic. They play hard. Obviously, everybody's emotional, but that's so important for the younger guys in particular to see that type of leadership.
That's right. Yeah, I remember the senior year we had initially so many guys getting votes for captain, and it just shows the type of leadership that we had. So many guys have proven to be, voices on the team who have stepped up in big moments. That so many people could get votes for being a captain, and it really could be any game, any moment, anybody on the team could step up. A lot of leadership on that team.
Well, one of the nice things, we don't really have a high attrition rate. A lot of IVs guys drop out. You bring in 30 and you graduate 18 or 19, and our guys stay with the program, and they're active, they're supportive, even if they're not playing a regular role. They have an important role. They're part of our team.
Right.
Ball knocked down. People would say, well, Dalen wasn't that tall. He was tall enough. He did a great job just with his vision inside. And you look at the size of Zach Davis up there, Nico Manuel, got some big old fellas up in front. Doesn't make a difference. He knows where his receivers are. And we got a little bit of an edge. Guy got his hand up and knocked it down. AJ was a master of that. You had a lot of knockdowns during the course of your time.
That's right. A little bit, they were calling me AJ Watt, I think. A bunch of batting passes. No, I made that up. They didn't call me that.
Yeah, I don't remember that one, AJ.
Definitely was one big thing. If I, first move didn't work, counter move didn't work, I'd definitely always be looking to stop anything coming over the middle. It's something you learn as you become more of a vet. That sometimes you're not going to get there. Sometimes you got to trust your teammates. If you got two, then put your hands up.
So a lot of it, AJ, I would assume reading somebody's eyes as well. As you said, sometimes there's a little bit of stalemate. If you concentrate on the QB and you see those eyes, they're going to give it away a little bit.
That's right.
And that shoulder starts to turn. Get your hand up.
That's right. And you also have to have a good feel for what they're trying to do offensively. A lot of teams, because we're stopping a lot of the deep threat, big ball, big plays. A lot of them are going to go short routes, short intermediate routes, especially over the middle. And so if that's the case, then I have an opportunity to stop those before they even get there. So have a good feel for what the offense is trying to do.
It's Houston Brown right there, number 82. He was just really elusive, just a very, very fluid athlete. He just made some great plays for us. A big catch, picking up a first down. Great shot by Dalen, sitting in the pocket.
Yeah, Nico was solo blocking there. He was definitely a great power run blocker, but I felt like our senior year he became a great pass blocker to number 58, the right guard.
People don't often realize the skill set that an offensive lineman has to develop. A lot of these guys never threw the ball a bunch in high school, and to live and learn. It's a nice little option pitch outside to Bramble, who had really deceptive speed. Southern Indiana product. Quiet guy, too. He never said much, did he?
No, and sometimes those are the ones you got to look out for, the quiet ones. But he was a great runner. You know, I knew blocking for Bramble, he was always gonna fight for those extra yards. So he was a fun back to block for.
That's right. Super tough guy. Super tough. And you talked about Nico Mamula, also just made a really great block. A cut block over the middle, stopped the blitzing linebacker. Great job by Nico.
Yeah.
And Bramble again inside, and Danny O'Day, our running backs coach, does a real good job with these guys. And we'll mix it up. We've got a variety of backs. A lot of a single one back set, but we'll play multiple backs, put those guys in a position to play.
That's right, Coach O'Day, the guy I played for in high school. I know him very well, very close to him, and yeah, great guy, great coach, love him.
We had Halloween. We had a dress-up day this year. We were obviously in season, and Coach O'Day came out as a leprechaun. He had the full uni and the hat and the shoes. Yeah, and it was a class.
I love it. I love it. I bet you he's been that every single year for as long as he's been coaching. I would bet. I'd put my money on it.
Victor Williams now throwing a block in front of Bramble. We talk about that in the receiver room. Dave Shule is coaching the guys right now, but just to get into somebody and make sure you occupy, protect your guy. You may not have the ball in your hands, but you can do your job.
AJ, did you have a extra chip on your shoulder, playing ball in New Jersey, going up against Princeton since they're from New Jersey, or no?
I think I had a chip on my shoulder playing every game against everyone. There's definitely a couple teams that I expected. I think I was a good player coming out of high school, and I was definitely hoping to get a scholarship from. I think Princeton, obviously, just having proximity is one of those teams, and I think they overlooked me. I think Harvard was one of those teams, all the guys that didn't give me a scholarship, anybody, or anybody we lost to. I hold grudges for sure. So, every time we played them, it was personal. It was something I wanted to go out there and prove. I'm the player that you overlooked. You should have gave me a spot. Probably wouldn't have went there anyway. I love Dartmouth. I love Coach T, and that's why I came. But hey, I'll use any motivation I can get.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, and we play upon that as well. When did so and so recruit you? No, we're playing them this week, and but we get the guys that Dartmouth needs, and I think Dartmouth attracts as well. And I think the family approach, the community, the sense of pride the guys have playing up in the woods, that tough guy mindset. We got a lot of tough guys.
Number 3 for Princeton.
Another big blitz here. It looked like they sent an extra 2 or 3.
3 guys, yeah.
Is this something you saw all day, Jacob?
Yeah, what they're doing is they're overloading one side. So on the offensive line, typically you send 3 or 4 guys one way, and the other 2 guys or the solo tackles manned up. And they did a good job figuring out which way we were sliding, and then overloading the other side with blitzers. So it's just impossible to pick up, especially when we're in empty formation where there's no running back to help pick up those blitzers.
Just kind of a swing screen.
How do you stop
pursuit
that?
to the ball?
The quarterback or the center has to see it and slide the protection the other way. So you gotta say easy, and then instead of going like Liz or sliding to the left, we gotta go rip so that we can pick up that blitz.
So 44, Will McNamara, he was a tough dude inside. St. Rita High School in Chicago.
Willie Mack, one of my favorite teammates. Just a special player, very smart, takes a lot of risks, but makes a bunch of huge plays. And me and him had probably the best chemistry, I would say, of anybody on the team. We would make each other right all the time. We would make our own game plans in the middle of the game, mid-play. I would see something, he would see something, and just give each other a little cue, a little tap, like, hey, go this way. Hey, they're trying to run it here. Hey, I saw this on film. And so, he was a all Ivy guy, almost a player of the year. And it definitely shows he had big talent, and it was one of my favorite guys to play with and for.
Yeah, really intuitive player.
Talk about that. Explain that a little more, making each other right, because there's some defenses that are just penetration based, and then there's some defenses that are more gap control.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have to know each other inside and out and what each person likes to do. Will knows that I love to try to get off the ball, get a lot of penetration before anybody can get around me. And, he could see that and say, okay, he's going to get upfield. He's going to stop them from getting outside. So, he knows that he can sit inside and stop the running back when he cuts back. Same thing. I know, Will likes to play downhill and get into the backfield. So I know if I can stop them and send the running back to his side, I know Will's going to make that play. It's really having a lot of trust in each other, knowing, each other's play style and being able to play off of that and feed off of that with one another. Definitely a symbiotic relationship.
Man, you look at just our secondary right now. We got some guys just flying around. Frankie Hernandez, number 3, in there just blowing people up. Danny McManus, number 34, making a number of plays. Vernon Harris, 27, who went on to sign a contract with Kansas City. David Caldwell, 41. Charlie Miller, I mentioned earlier, number 38. We had some players back there, fellas.
Top to bottom. Yeah. All across the board, big players left and right. I mean, and speaking of big players, I think the opposite, Frankie Hernandez, a shorter, smaller guy, one that you might think is, not going to be quite as strong or as explosive as he actually is. And I'll tell you, he'll hit you pretty hard. I think, I don't even know what Frankie's maybe 5'9", 5'10", but he'll come at you. And then guys like, David Caldwell, another guy who's pretty unsuspecting, but one of the most athletic guys I played with, a lot of heart. He actually was one of the best basketball players on the team. You would never expect him to be so good across so many sports, but yeah, DC, great player on the field and great player on the court too.
How was it when we alternated a lot of guys? Was that tough as a player? I know you were, for the most part, nonstop, and Jacob, you were as well. But we'd spin through a bunch of linebackers, a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of secondary players, wide receivers. It doesn't seem to be a problem, but sometimes it's an adjustment for people that they've played every snap. And what we took is the value of each snap that they do play.
I'll tell you one thing. We all had trust in each other, and we all knew that everybody on the team could get the job done. So if anybody had to come off, there's times where I came off just way too tired, or maybe injured something real quick and needed to get some tape. I never had any doubt in my mind that Brandon Cooper or Jeremiah Duche or Zach Hussein or Jackson Perry would come off the bench and be able to fill in and do a great job, make a play, whenever necessary. So I think it's tough, for some people to maybe get going if you're coming in and out. But I think from top to bottom, we knew that anybody could make a play at any time, and nobody was ever frustrated about it. No egos or anything like that.
Talk playmaker for Vernon Harris right there, man. That would have been a big pick. But a nice job breaking up the pass. Vernon, now engineering graduate, started a couple of businesses, doing quite well.
That's right. He's down in DC. He's got one company. He's working for an engineering company. Doing a lot of things. And then NFL experience as well. He's all over the place.
I just saw 57, Sawyer Whalen. Sawyer's out on the West Coast with a bunch of startups, and he's doing some fascinating things as well.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when I went to, I first graduated, Sawyer had already been out in the San Francisco area before I got there. And he actually let me stay there a few nights before I really had a job or a place to move into. So I remember, we hung out a few times. I saw him a few times when I was out in the Bay Area. Great guy, loved playing with him. Another guy who was maybe could get overlooked as well, but always, very solid, always doing his job. And another guy that probably could have been all Ivy in a lot of years as a starter. But didn't get the chance to make as much of an impact until senior year.
It's a nice catch and run by Victor Williams. Those cutting patterns underneath, especially versus pressure, there's a lot of open space. And Dalen did a nice job, protected him well. We dropped the ball off underneath.
Yeah, I remember just going back to Vernon. Maybe Coach T would know this, but I'm pretty sure he's like one of the only people to start all 40 games in Dartmouth history. He came in as a true freshman out of St. Thomas Aquinas down in Florida and was just dominant from his freshman year to this game.
No, you're exactly right. Every one of them. We change up our snap count here. I'm not sure if we drew a flag or not. Oh, is that tough, Jacob? We get into a little bit of a rhythm and all of a sudden, hey, we're going to go on a long count?
It is, but you have to go on you have to mix up the snap count, or else guys like AJ will get off the ball and penetrate that much quicker because, they're smart. They know downside hut. They're going to be going on the H right there. So you have to mix it up, and it's a weapon for the offense. That's one thing as an offensive lineman. You know where the ball's going, and you know when the ball's going to be snapped. So if you take one of those advantages away, it just makes your job tougher.
It's a big pickup, 3rd and 4 to the go-to guy, Ryan McManus.
He was the go-to guy on 3rd down pretty much with Dalen.
Yeah, it's a timing route, just kind of speed out. It's well delivered, low and away. You can't stop that defensively. Big Green is on the move.
That's right.
Coming down the field.
We're going to take a shot here. Let's go. Oh, come on.
Sometimes those are the best passes thrown. Rather than hold on, and Dalen certainly matured over time. He was really a master of that. Just don't take the loss. His feet protected him, but once in a while, say, okay, just chuck it out of bounds and go play again.
Absolutely. That's something you definitely have to learn over time. I remember Dalen came in, and he has the ability to make those plays, and he has the ability to make them really often. But the biggest thing is to make sure you're not hurting your team. You could just as easily come away, minus 15 as you could, coming away with a touchdown. So, and then you're also more likely to get hurt on those plays as well. So you got to be smart, and good job throwing it away right there.
I think Princeton was ready for that. Throughout the season, we used Dalen. That was the design quarterback draw, and I think they saw that one coming that time.
Do you hear them yelling on occasion? And I would say the same thing defensively. Hey, watch out for the draw. Hey, here it comes. And do you trust what you hear?
Well, there's only so many plays you can guess. You can run zone, power, draw. So if they just say some defense will just say, hey, watch out for outside zone, watch out for this, watch screen. And you're like, all right, yeah, it's going to be one of those, I guess. So. Yeah, Princeton, whenever we crossed the 50 or got near their goal line, you can see this pattern of bringing pressure. We were able to move the ball, and then they would just, as soon as we got anywhere close, they brought the pressure. So we'll go into halftime and make an adjustment here.
Yeah, I'll say one thing. I think Princeton versus Dartmouth is the game where we know each other the best. And we know how to play them. They know how to play us. We know what they're trying to do. They know what we're trying to do. And at the end of the day, it's which team is going to execute better, which team is going to, take their cues and actually act on them the best. it's really fun to see. Even if you know what we're doing, can you stop us? And we'll see who stops who.
We just lost a little poise there.
Yeah.
Is Ben Kepley kind of rocketing? It's a great punt, and we just gave up a 15-yarder. And it's another great job, Chai Reese down there.
Yeah.
Reese.
Let's see who's in there.
Another guy, Chai Reese, 5th year, came back, and I'm really glad he did. It made a huge difference for us, especially just having, again, kind of veteran leadership, a guy who's really savvy, but also really athletic and made a lot of big plays for us, too.
Looks like Wickham's out there, AJ, 42.
Wick. Yeah, another 5th year guy. Actually, you might have been a 6th year guy. I mean, what year was Wickham? No, he's like, again, it felt like he'd been there forever, but another guy who just like knew the playbook, like the back of his hand, knew where to be. Very savvy guy. Was very glad to play with him. And then, even towards the end there, he started to get really big and looked like he could put his hand in the dirt.
We're very solid tacklers. AJ, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the fact that you guys don't tackle anybody. But for ball games, is it a negative impact at all, do you think?
No, not at all. I think it was actually one of the best things for us. For one, just kind of being able to mitigate injury. It's always been said the best ability is availability, right? And if you're not hitting your own guys every day, day in, day out, like they used to do back in the day, you're going to have guys who are ready, who are fresh, who are able to actually play on game day. And that's the biggest thing. And then, the biggest thing is being able to just practice form and be smart about, how you're actually getting that experience in. And I think we did that very well. I think it helped us as one of the best defensive teams, the best tackling teams, in not just the Ivy League, but in the nation.
We do. Statistically, we have very, very few missed tackles. And our defensive guys, Don Dobes, kind of coordinating the defense, does a great job. Tackle circuits every day. So we tackle a lot. We just don't tackle each other. And it saves on both sides of the football. And I don't believe it hurts us offensively in terms of the success the running backs have had.
We asked the guys, I believe this was last week. It was a 2011 game. And it was players who started where there was tackling, and eventually you guys implemented no tackling in practice during their time there. And I think it was Bo Patterson said that his friends playing for other schools were jealous of that being implemented because they were getting beat up in practice, too many injuries. And eventually it's led to what we're about to watch, a historic finish to the season. So because I asked, was it kind of people give you weird looks like no tackling? Apparently not. You guys were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure how well received it was because it was such a radical idea. But as you watch, our team is healthier through the end of the season than anybody else in the league, and it means a lot when you have. And I think in this season specifically, 21 of 22 guys played and practiced every day and every week. And that's the consistency, the comfort level, knowing your teammate, trust and reliance, always born of staying healthy.
I'm not sure what the perception was from the outside at first. I think we had to prove it first, right? We had to go out there and play great defense and go out there and actually win some games before anybody thought, oh, you know what, maybe not tackling practice is a good idea.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If we hadn't won, that would have gone out the window and I would have gone out the door. So thanks for proving us right.
Well, thanks for putting us in the right position and giving us the chance.
Yes, good stuff.
AJ, talk about Kaz, who was integral in developing the MVP, Ellie Kasner, playing with him,
right.
The guy who was.
Yeah, Kaz, a guy who was, I believe, a junior when I first came in as a freshman, a little bit older guy, a guy that also had experienced some injuries earlier on in his career, but ultimately a super smart guy, one of the strongest guys I've ever played with. I remember watching him clean 400 pounds and 440 pounds. Was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. But even for all that, as much as you lift and you're in shape, it doesn't protect you from getting injured, whether in practice or in a game. So really cool to see him, use his engineering background to develop, something like the MVP. Something that we were able to even put into practice on the field, I think makes it, even cooler. And then seeing the scope of it now, NFL teams adopt that, and just it being viral and all over the place, I think is really cool. But yeah, Elliot Kastner is super bright guy, a great player on the field.
Do you stay in touch with Flo at all, AJ?
Flo? Yeah, absolutely. Also one of my best friends. He's down in DC right now. As you mentioned, still kind of waiting on the CFL. I know they canceled the season, so he's about to start his real life job and real professional career. But Flo, amazing guy, a great player, super athletic. We try to keep in touch as much as possible.
You see him just chasing the quarterback. He was just uncanny, man. People were afraid to line up against him because he was just so quick, so creative and explosive. I thought Coach Dobes did a nice job putting him in a rush situation frequently. Here he is, the bottom of the screen again. But that left tackle, I was like, oh man, get rid of it quick.
Yeah, you can see no matter how much you practice, when Flo lines up there, it's a different story. It's something like you haven't seen before. Super quick, his feet are moving fast. He's strong. He's low to the ground. You don't know which way he's going to go. And he could really throw you off here. And thank God he got rid of the ball there.
I'd say he's one of the happiest guys I know, too. Just always a big old smile and competitive, but a happy person.
That's right.
Well, that's a big completion there, so we got to kind of bow up a little bit.
Yeah, they didn't even capture that last play. I know Princeton was known for snapping the ball, playing up tempo, and just trying to, I guess you could speak to it, AJ, but are they just trying to get the defense out of position or what there?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're playing up tempo, there's a couple things that are happening. One, you're not getting them a ton of chances to make a lot of substitutions. So you got the same guys out there. Guys are getting tired. But two, you have a very limited amount of time to actually, key in on your reads, to see where people are lining up, and then, use that film that you've watched all week to know, what's the most likely outcome here. What are they going to run? What are they trying to do? So you're making guys tired. You're taking away their ability to think. And then your offense is in sync. You know what plays you want to run. You just get up and line up and run them. I think that's something we prepare for every year with Princeton. We know what they're going to do, but it doesn't make it any easier. You still have to line up and play them.
Were there any tells you would look for from offensive linemen, either on film or in the trenches? Right there?
Not to interrupt, but this is a huge play right here.
Big play right there.
AJ, I'm surprised you didn't keep that ball. We probably got it for you after.
I really should have, and I don't even think in the moment, I was thinking about that. I was just so happy that, we were able to stop them. And you see, I think it's Flo who comes around the edge, unblockable guy, knocks the ball out. Am I right? Was that Flo?
It was. Exactly right.
That's right. Comes around, strips the ball. We were trying to get them to call it as an interception for me, but no, that's all Flo right there. Strips the ball out, throws it basically into my chest, and then super unprepared for that moment, but I tried to take that and run it down the field, but the offensive lineman had other plans for me.
Yeah, and just from a coaching standpoint, at 7 points with 22 seconds to go, hey, take a knee, let's go in. We didn't play great offensive football. Let's go in, collect ourselves. Fortunate to be 7-zip with the number of turnovers that we had. They matched us, so we didn't get the takeaways, but another 30 minutes to play for a championship.
It is the lowest scoring half in the history of the Woods Watch Party, but plenty of excitement to come on the other side of the break. 7-0 Princeton at the half.
There are lots of things that are true about each of us, but sometimes we are held back from being ourselves. Sometimes we are told we can't do a certain thing because we're a boy or a girl, but it's okay to be who we are. Girls can be messy and boys can be neat. Girls can be fast and boys can be creative. It's good for both boys and girls to talk about their feelings and to clean up their messes. It's okay for all of us to be scared, brave, loud, quiet, gentle, and smart, and it's always good to ask for help when we need it. We get to decide who we want to be and how we want to spend our time. All that matters is we are genuine and no one is getting hurt. I'll support you in being yourself, and I hope that you'll support me.
Domino's is serious about food safety. That's why your pizza stays untouched after baking at 450 degrees. And now that every delivery is contactless, you can safely mix and match any 2 or more for just $5.99 each when you sit around the table, even if it's not the same table.
Well, the Dartmouth defense doing its job so far in this game. We've seen some explosive plays from the offense as well, but so far it is Princeton 7, Dartmouth nothing, and the Big Green are in need of a spark to get this season finale comeback effort started. Let's see what happens here in the third.
There we go.
Danny McManus off and running. He's the youngest brother of the McManus clan. Tough little guy. Sometimes the youngest are the toughest. But we did a great job just setting some blocks up front. Again, Coach McCorkle, special teams. And this was a great way to start, just emotionally, from an offensive perspective.
Yeah, agreed. I know Coach Stevens and some of the other coaches, they didn't even have to say anything at halftime. Normally they'd be going into the black and yelling and all that, but it came from some of the senior leaders like, this is our championship. We're going to go get it.
To the 44-yard line, Dalen Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Guys were ready to fire away as soon as we got up back into action.
Catches made by Victor Williams at the 40. And he's out of bounds.
Just a quick pass here. Victor Williams again. He's always good. There's those short shots, quick, high completion rate, pick up 4 or 5 yards, and just you start chipping down the field. At some point, you guys will have to explain the color spectrum to the audience. We reference going to the black occasion.
Yeah. We're in the last game of the season, and we don't know what the black is yet. Well, Coach T had this analogy of the color spectrum, and we had this idea that you wanted to be very under control. You wanted to be amped up. You wanted to be ready to roll. But you wanted to be under control, and the spectrum went from white, a couple of colors in between, red, high red, and then black. And black is, you're blacked out, you're out of control, you don't know what's going on, but you're just amped up, and you want it to be just a step before that, where you're as ready to roll as possible, your motor's revved, but you're at least under control, you know what's going on. And so when we say we're in the black, it means, it's not where you want to be.
Essentially, you lose your mind.
That's right. So 4th and 1, as you can see, the second half, we made some adjustments offensively. We came out with 2 tight ends here, and I think that served 2 purposes. It helped us in protection. When you got bigger guys in there, we've got more bodies to block a lot of the blitzers they're sending. And then it allowed us to open up some of our power running game a little bit too. So it looks like we spread it out again. It looks like Josh Clark's going to come down, give Dalen time. Oh, that looked like pass interference.
McManus did, yeah. He didn't agree either.
Yeah.
The two tight end, Cam Scaff and Steven Johnson, were interjected with that two tight end set. Not in here right now, but two very, very good athletes.
It's a break ball.
And there was the home run there. Looks like he had a crossing right over the middle. He probably could have dumped it off.
Yeah, he did.
But,
So Ryder's
we're able to get some leverage out of Ryder here.
Yeah.
Ryder was another tough guy from Calgary, Alberta, cattle rancher's son.
That's right. He played Canadian ball for a little bit too, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is a great cutback and great job at the front, just pushing, moving people, good patience by the running back, cuts it against the grain, and again, downfield blocking. Houston Brown, block there.
Charles Mack right there, 86. We were just running outside zone here, and Ryder did a great job kind of riding the wave, and then as soon as it broke open, just cut it back.
Great patience. Kepley was the holder. Ben Kepley was a punter and also doubled as a holder, and then Alex Gackenheimer converts.
On that drive there, guys, Ryder Stone in the entire game had 8 carries. He had 4 carries over a span of 5 plays right there to eventually punch it in. Do you remember why that change was made? We know Ryder Stone is a Dartmouth legend, so you always want to get in the ball when you can, but any recollection of why you were keyed in on him for that drive?
Sometimes they just do, Coach Stevens talked about rotating a lot of people. So sometimes coaches will do it by series. And I think it was his number. It was his time up, and he took full advantage.
Yeah, and every once in a while you just kind of get into a groove, and he had it. We're pushing the front, we're creating some seams, and he had good vision that day. Tough, secure ball carrier. Yeah, Riley Lyons, who just kind of chip shotted that kickoff, tried to pin them deep, maybe a little bit of an under hit, give a little bit of field position, but we'll play around with different kickoff schemes on occasion. This is a big drive defensively. You never want to give the opponent an opportunity to come back and swing the emotion.
And I'll tell you what, coming out, firing right away and scoring a touchdown, that's exactly what you want to see as a defensive player. And it really takes some of the pressure off because we know we're right back in it. We're right now where we're supposed to be. And if we come back out and we can shut them back down, then we have an opportunity to take over the game.
So what do you think of this wishbone? It's kind of an old school wishbone, but in the shotgun here. As a D lineman, are you looking much in the backfield, or are you trying to read the guy in front of you?
I think you're really reading your keys. I mean, I think it's something I love to see. Anytime we know that an opponent's going to run, we know we had a great rush defense. I think we averaged, I think it was 46 rushing yards a game against us, if I remember correctly. So, we knew we had the ability to stop it, and wishbone, rarely you'll see them pass out of that. So I get excited, but, your eyes are on your key, the guy in front of you, which way is he going, which way is he leading you, and that'll, lead you to do your job and take care of the play that you are supposed to take care of. And as long as everybody's doing that, you have the trust that everybody's going to do that, you'll be able to stop that.
It's a little snag pattern by the Princeton receiver, just settles in a zone area between two defenders. Just enough to squeeze out a first down.
Dre Nelson on the carry. Excellent, yeah. First time good catch, Wayne.
That's right. You're seeing a lot of those short intermediate routes again. They're getting them out pretty fast. Another one, screen out to the outside of the field. That's what they do. They like to keep it moving, get lined up, get people moving across the field. It can be very difficult to deal with that.
Yeah, you notice if things are going well, the tempo picks up. and there's a little bit of enthusiasm. You start to halt a drive, then they take a little bit more time between plays.
Nice hand sketch as he goes to the ground at the 26-yard line, and another third down.
Yeah, I mean, from an offensive perspective, if you're going against a good front six, good front seven, like we had, you want to get the ball to the perimeter to your wide receivers in these little patterns, or roll the pocket to kind of throw you guys off. Because if you just send the pocket, Zuda or Flo or Cody's going to be there pretty soon.
Well, you see what they're doing here is they're moving laterally. They're getting to the outside of the field. They're running a lot of hitches, and they're setting guys up in between the zones. And obviously that's them knowing what we do, what we like to do. We don't blitz a lot of guys. We drop back in coverage. You're not going to beat us deep. So you're going to take what we give you, or you're not going to get anything at all. And unfortunately, we're giving up a lot of these in a row right now. They look like they're firing in all cylinders. But it's tough to continue to do that. Are you going to do these 3, 4, 5 yards at a time? These shorter passes, you're not going to break a whole lot of big ones. So can you keep doing that? Can you be consistent, or are you going to mess up and we're going to make a big play?
It's a very good observation. The offensive patience sometimes gets tested. It's 3, 4, 5. You're moving it down, but people want those gash yards. Hit that big play.
They hand the ball off to Atwater. He tries to stretch to the near side. He hurdles one man.
It's really good pursuit. Willie Mack inside. Charlie Miller coming over to support. David Caldwell. Vernon. So we do a very nice job just chasing the football. You always see guys running right across the board. And Coach Dobes, and it's a mindset the defense has, and it makes a difference.
A lot of speed on this team too. Willie Mack was one of the faster linebackers that you'll see. Again, Zach Slafsky came back just moving on the field. Flo, incredibly quick, incredibly fast. And then you have guys in the back end, David Caldwell, even Danny Mack, Chai, Vernon, a lot of guys who can cover ground. So it's difficult for them to be able to get outside, get around us, and get up the field when you have guys who are in pursuit and really covering ground like that.
It's intimidating watching an opponent's tape when you see guys that just, they're rocketing to the football. It's people's heads are on a swivel, and it's intimidating. Our guys do a real good job with that. Down tight, everything changes a little bit. Not a whole lot of room to operate, not a lot of room that you got to pick up, but those are tough yards. It's a great job off the edge. Was it Sawyer Whalen in the backfield, or no, Cody?
I think that was Coop, maybe.
The Coop?
Let's see.
Looks like Flo.
Flo?
No, Coop.
Oh, no, it was Coop. You're right.
Yeah, Owen Coop. Still a natural twist.
That's right. Running stunts up front. You see guys pointing out their assignments right before the play. Making sure that we all know what we're doing, communicating up front, and that's what you want to see. Great job defensively.
Explain some of this stuff. This is crazy inside. It's body on body, and we have done a very good job. 2015, we had a bunch of block kicks as well. But as a defensive lineman, what's that like inside?
It can get really tough in there. It's guy against guy. A lot of contact, a lot of fighting through. And as the jumper, the guy in the middle putting your hands up, it's my position. You want to be able to swivel your hips through, get your feet stepped through, and then you have guys who, Zach Hussein, Cody, guys who are supposed to move guys out of your way for you and help you do your job. So it's really a team effort, but that helps me kind of get through and get a hand up. Hopefully get a hand on the ball so we can block it. But it's a tough fight getting through there. A lot of guys, a lot of weight getting thrown around.
A lot of bodies. Yep, knockdown pass again, just getting the hands up. Yeah, this is and just emotionally answering. They just go down and they score offensively. It's got to be a mindset. but not a distraction. Hey, just go out and execute, do your job.
Running backs Kyle Bramble.
We're seeing them bat down a lot of the passes that we have on quick game. And I think it's because, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like a lot of guys are blitzing up front. They're getting and closing really fast. And that's why they're able to get a hand up, on the quick passes and the quick routes.
Yeah, and in Princeton, you guys both commented we know each other well. We're going to use that quick game, and by design, we'll try to get in those pass lanes and just get the hands up. It's a distraction, and both sides of the ball are knocking passes down.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, AJ, but our sophomore year against Princeton, they came in undefeated to Hanover. It was the last game of the season, and I mean, a lot of these Princeton games are memorable, but that year, I think it started. The game started out sunny, kind of like this, and then it went overcast, and then by the fourth quarter, it was pouring snow. And by the end of the game, we ended up beating Princeton, and they're ranked nationally and all this stuff. And to end the season like that in the snow was just something you wouldn't get anywhere else but Hanover.
That's right. It's the best way to be able to send your seniors off with a win, with a big win. Like that against a big rival, it was one of the best feelings I think we had as a team.
That was a big completion to Houston Brown, big chunky yardage, and again he's kind of that slithery receiver. He's just going to make a play, and did it repeatedly. This is kind of a RPO run pass option, and looked like somebody get their hands in the air. I think we had.
Looks like he was down, but I don't know what they're going to call here.
Yeah, what did they go with? Was this a fumble? Did they turn this over?
These are the embarrassing ones. So it's like, what did you see? I didn't. And that's where the instant replay has certainly become huge these days. They get more right than they did in the past. And this was pre-instant replay. Yep. So they said he wasn't down, and another turnover for the Big Green.
I think that's 4 for us, 2 to their 2.
Yeah.
Again, it's never good when you see tons of turnovers like that. That'll hurt you as a team.
It's just frustrating because we had a good drive going, and we're running the ball. We felt like he was down, and then we turned it over. But we know you guys are going to step up for us. So.
And maintaining poise, sometimes the greatest challenge. You guys want to start losing it, and just hang on. Trust and confidence. Again, a lot of guys to the ball.
Got this one out quick again. A lot of short routes, but you're seeing guys are starting to get pressure up front. Sawyer coming off the edge there. And I think Flo as well, both of them coming from the same side, doing a good job getting pressure.
Can you sense that the offensive line is wearing down over the course of time? Generally, there's no substitutions in an offensive front. But as the game wears on, do you notice that?
Yeah, and I think you get a good sense for, how each individual lineman likes to set up, and you start to get a sense for what's working against them. So you can, work your moves. You saw, they're susceptible to going outside or maybe the spin move. What you can come at them with. And so I think we're starting to get a good sense for, okay, this is what these guys like to do. This is who they're double teaming. This is which way they're sliding the protection. And then, you can adjust and really, start to wear them down after that.
Radigan takes the handoff and stumbles forward, stays on his feet.
Yeah, we are tough to run up in between the tackles with. Just a lot of bodies, tough guys, and we always play with real good leverage. You hear about leverage all the time. The low pad generally wins, and quite frequently we were the lowest.
Teams keeping the ball on the ground. Princeton knows they get a touchdown out of this, they would have a 17-point lead.
It doesn't look like he's hurt, but
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we went 4-0 against Princeton, our class, right? Zoot. We didn't lose to them freshman year, did we?
That's right. That's one team we never lost to. Something I'm super proud to say. But again, I think we just kind of knew what we were getting from them, and it was always a fun game, a good end of the season, and it always was a close one.
Always, yeah.
At least if I remember, yeah.
no, you're right. They've never been easy and always entertaining.
One was a blowout loss at Harvard. The other three were close and one score.
Yeah, it looks like a guy might not even been hurt there. He might have been tired. Another vet move. I think Coach T has seen me pull before, where I can't remember which game it was specifically, but I think it was in my junior year. I think we had been on the field for like 8, 9, 10 straight plays, and guys were starting to get tired. And I knew I was coming off the field next play, so I went down real quick, gave our guys a blow, so we can get another guy off the bench, and actually we stopped them the next play. Savvy that move.
Oh man,
It's again not coached, but well thought of. All right. We're just keep chipping away here, and that's frustrating to a defense. You're putting pressure on, you're making tackles, but the chains keep moving.
That's right, and that's the thing that can get you the most frustrated, especially if you get to multiple third downs, and each time they're able to convert. It's like got floating over the top.
How many tackles did you have in this game, AJ?
Ooh, that's a good question. This might have been, I think I had maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 double-digit tackle games in my career, and I think this is one of them. I know Harvard was another one. There's a couple ones throughout the game, or throughout the year, but this definitely might have been one of them.
I have the official number for you, AJ. You had 1 shy, 9.
9, okay.
Willie Mack had 10, but if you throw in your probably an interception, but actually a fumble plus the sack, I mean, you're on this Woods Watch Party game for a reason.
Yep.
That's right. I'll take it. 9 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Yeah. I think that's a good stat line for a D tackle.
It was a nice pass breakup by Danny McManus. We'd find he was a shorter guy, and people would kind of outsize him with a receiver and try to chuck it up. Did a great job. A very, very athletic, very competitive guy with those toss-up balls.
There we go. 3rd and long. You guys get off the field.
Yep.
Right. We're starting to see a lot of those stunts up front are working. They've been pretty stout, standing in the middle, haven't given up a lot of ground, but you saw there we were able to run a twist around the edge, get some pressure and force a good stop there.
What was your pass rush progression? Let's say at the beginning of the game, would you start with the bull rush? Would you try to work a guy's edges, or what was your mindset kind of starting out?
Yeah, that one's different game to game. For me, I watched a ton of film, and I'm really reading in on each guy on the offensive line. So what does the left tackle do? What does the left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, and how do they set up? Are they susceptible to the bull rush? Do they, like to take an extra step and get outside? Are they double teaming to make up for maybe a weaker right or left guard or tackle? So for me, it really switched up game to game. But I love to get off the ball, love a speed rush and a swim move maybe to the outside. And then, as the game goes on, you set them up one way, you get a spin move going back the other way. And then, they think you're coming with the speed, and then you hit them with the bull rush. So mind games. Love to switch it up.
It's pretty good by 78, Josh Clark there. I'll say that's a staple of the Dartmouth offense is power right there, and power, and then set them up and get the ball to Victor here, and just short little passes.
They get a targeting hit, and they're much more aggressive these days. You're seeing players not take these shots. Watch the kind of the whiplash head to head. And those, you want them to remove those from the game. Say, Victor Williams, if he sees boxing, man, obviously he can take a shot.
Yeah, I was just going to say he popped back up. So sounds like Dartmouth football prepared him pretty well to step in the ring.
Hopefully we saved him a bunch of those things, right? The cumulative effect.
Yeah, I think so.
But to your point, Tyler, just those underneath and Jake, those underneath routes, that people starting to drop at depth and they get a little bit skewed. You get a runner coming laterally across the grain. There's a lot of room for yards after the catch, yaks as we call them.
Princeton Tigers, the quarterback, Dalen Williams, now the ball is across.
So Vic was one of the best at it. I mean, he's a super quick guy, but one of the fastest guys on the team. And so if you can get him the ball with some space, he can really take off.
Yep. A courageous guy too. I mean, he didn't care. You take a hit. They're doing a pretty good job just to really watching Dalen converging and so forth. He's so dangerous with his feet, and anyone, I mean, he can go the distance.
Yeah, we tried to run him there, option left, and they had. I think, Coach T, you're right. They had a spy on him pretty much the whole game. They just had a linebacker assigned to him.
Yeah, kind of a sign of respect. This guy can hurt us, so we're going to take someone out of it to make sure that he can't do the things that he does so well.
Down the middle of the field, gets rushed up the middle, and he goes down.
Yeah, got a good job in the secondary. There's really no place. Dalen scanning the field, his primary, secondary, third, fourth receiver, and he just couldn't come up with one. The protection was not bad.
Yeah.
He couldn't find a place to go with the ball.
Dalen wanted a face mask call. He's not getting it.
They did a good job mixing up pressure, and then it looked like that time they just dropped 7 guys and did a good job.
Yep, zoned it off. Big play and a lot of yards, 3rd and 14. That's a tough call. In this section of the field, the mindset from a coaching perspective, hey, we can get a bunch of it. We don't have to get all of it. Put ourselves in a field goal situation or a go for it on 4th deal.
Yeah. You don't put it down again. They brought 7 guys. It's just same story. They did a good job.
Do you feel like you got anything in your back pocket or up your sleeve if the offense continues to struggle like this? Is this another part of the game plan you can go to here, or is it just you got to hope what you're trying eventually works?
Well, a fake punt, we talked about it frequently. We've used a fake punt against Princeton in the past. It's just kind of time and place. The closer you get to the midfield, people are a little bit more suspect. That's a great job by Ben Kepley. Yeah, that's a huge thing in the ball game, just to swing the field like that, and then put your defense in really an advantage situation. Now the defense, they got to rise to it. You can really swing the field like this, keep them down there.
That's right. You put their backs against the wall, they got to be real careful about what plays they call. They're not going to have as much space to move laterally like they love to do. So are they going to run right up the middle? We're usually pretty good about stopping that. It's definitely a good sign for our defense.
It's like they're calling it back, though.
And it looks like they're bringing it back.
All your great analysis notwithstanding, it was an illegal formation, so you're going to have to repunt apparently.
It's interesting, and that doesn't get called that often, but generally the end protectors, if you will, the offensive players, you get a tendency to start to bow back a little bit, and you have to break the belt line of the guy, really the offensive center. Generally, you get a warning. And in this case, because I was not happy with this, there was no warning. It was just the guy in the backfield, not enough guys in the line of scrimmage. but that's obviously devastating. Tough to replicate that twice.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good punt, though. Just get him on the ground, fellas. There we go. All right, so they got a plus 19, ball on the -1 to the 21. Obviously, I wasn't a math major.
Yeah.
It's up to the Big Green defense again to try and do their job the way they've done.
I forgot to ask this to Sammy McCorkle when we had him on. Coach T, do you know why a lot of college programs and basically no NFL teams do that 3-player shield in front of a punter? Is that just a preference, or is there a reason for that?
Yeah, the college game is just a little bit different. They don't put as much emphasis on punt rush in the NFL. I mean, they do. They'll come out after on occasion, but sometimes it's almost say that we're going to give it up. In the college game, there's a great chance there's going to be a breakdown or weakness, and you put 3 bigger guys back 6 yards. It's harder to pierce that wall, if you will. And we've had very, very good success with it. The problem is if a guy starts to leave his zone of protection, you need a good snap and then a time to get off with the punter. But that's kind of the rationale.
Makes sense to me.
All right, big series here. It's his last play of the quarter.
Pass is a little behind, but the catch is made by the wide receiver Barnes up to the 39.
Yeah, tackling the football. The defense, Sammy McCord, everybody, Donnie Dobes, Dwayne Brooks really emphasize that. You see one guy wrap up, everybody else trying to pull the ball away.
21-yard pass and catch for Princeton to bring us to the fourth quarter. Dartmouth still behind with an Ivy League championship on the line. The final quarter when we come back.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local CAP dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day. For a limited time at Milton Cat, get 0% for 60 months on select new Cat compact equipment.
As a trusted choice firm, the Richards Group has been committed to local communities for decades. We take the time to get to know our clients, their needs, and budget. We're independent, so we work for you, not an insurance company.
We use our expertise to find our clients the best home, auto, and business coverage at the most competitive price.
Our team provides consulting services for employee benefits, retirement plans, human resources, and leadership development.
The Richards Group. Prepare for tomorrow by contacting us today.
Well, here we go. Fourth quarter. Dartmouth is 15 minutes away from breaking a long Ivy League championship drought, but Princeton is on the move. And, I can say that narrative, AJ, but you guys are out there on defense. Is this creeping into your minds at all? Of course, you know what's at stake, but are you able to stay locked in with that tunnel vision to not get too caught up in how meaningful every play really is at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every one of those guys, we all have the confidence to say, what we're capable of. We're never out of the game. Even if we were down by 2 scores, 3 scores, we would never give up hope. We know we have the ability to one, as a defense, shut them down, and then 2, we have the players to come back and score at any moment. So it's really about just looking around and saying who's going to be the guy to make that play, who's going to step up, and we're each looking at each other to do their own jobs. But to really, change the momentum and bring us back in this game. So, there was never a doubt in my mind, and I'm sure in the mind of the rest of the team as well.
Well, AJ and Jacob, I think sometimes the mindset of the players, you got to just focus on that next snap. Worrying about the broad picture serves no purpose. You got to take care of your business, and that gives you a chance.
Yeah, we're focused on the next drive. And I mean, obviously we were running out of drives, but no one gave up. No one felt like we weren't going to get it done because every day we went out to practice, there's banners around the field there, and it's got each Ivy League championship and the year and stuff. And we were determined to get one of those. Every day we'd walk out there, and I think 96 was the last one. So it had been almost like 20 years. So we knew we were gonna add a banner that day.
It's a good job. It's quite a punt. And pretty well protected as well. But that's the poise that factors in. He just go out. The pass doesn't matter. The next one does. The next snap, and just keep grinding away. And I think our guys really have a great mindset in that regard. It's something it's passed down from class to class. We saw that this past season as well. Just we had to finish off, and we did what we needed to do to win.
Yeah. What games stand out to you guys, in addition to this one, throughout the season, where maybe you realized this team was special, or a big play happened where, well, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't even be in a position to win the Ivy League title? Does anything stick out as you're trying to relive this game? But obviously, it's a culmination of what wound up being an entire historic season.
I would say the Penn game. That's always our first Ivy League game, and so the year before we had played Penn, and it was pretty close. And we just came out like we were on a mission and blew them out by, I think we were up by like 30 points at one point before Coach Stevens called the dogs off. But we knew right then, just setting the tone from the start of Ivy League play, that this year was going to be different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. I think the Penn game is when we knew we had an opportunity to be, one of the best teams in Dartmouth history and to bring home a championship. Anytime you go out against another really good team and you're able to actually dominate against them, that tells you something about the guys that you have in that locker room. And Penn, obviously, a very well-run program. They also finished off the season, really well. And so, again, it spoke volumes when we were able to perform like that early on in the season.
Just a couple of good passes. Sam Laptad, tight end from Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, did a nice job. We rotated three guys through. And Ryder Stone with a nice carry, and then Ryan McManus with a nice catch. And again, he always was falling forward, always positive yards after the catch.
Yeah, Sam's one of the nicest guys in our class. He was just genuinely a good guy, and he battled injuries, but he definitely contributed our senior year. And now he's married and in finance and going to be managing our money pretty soon, AJ.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's going to have to compete. I know Dalen's also wealth management right now, and I think if everybody is gonna handle my money, it's got to be him. But we'll see. We'll see that. I'll hear both of their pitches before I make a decision.
It's been, you guys know, we have a group, the Friends of Dartmouth Football, and one of the most special things for me is to have some of our recent grads, guys just starting in their careers, contributing back. And so many of the guys do. And it's really, I think, a tribute to the program that guys feel strong enough about what they went through, what they experienced, that they want others to experience the same type of thing. So I appreciate all the guys, yourselves included, for the support that you guys continue to give. It makes a difference at Dartmouth football.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredibly important to continue to support the program. We all know what it's like to be on campus, to be part of Dartmouth football, and to move on from Dartmouth football. And any step of the way that I or anybody else can help and support, I think, is incredibly important for us to do so.
And then as you guys climb that the wealth pole as it goes, or wealth ladder, I'm going to be calling saying, hey, maybe a little bit more this time.
There you go, Chris.
Hey, my line's open, Coach.
There we go.
No, but just speaking to that, like it doesn't even have to be financial. Just like the opportunities from football alums to, I've done internships with, Dartmouth football players and had Dartmouth, ex football players be mentors and stuff like that. So whether they're, opening a door or giving their time, like people at Dartmouth, it's special. Just the community you build on campus and then for the rest of your career.
You're exactly right. AJ did a great talk on the tech industry the other night. And just that is so meaningful because he's one of those guys. And the guys can see through, a guy came in, was an all-Ivy, a wonderful player, success, and still sharing back some of his experience out in the Bay Area with one of the startups out there. So to your point, there's a lot of ways to support and give back, and it's not all financial. Just time and effort and energy and the desire to.
Absolutely.
Big series here.
Yeah, I got to go on this play right here. I was waiting for this formation all game, and I knew exactly what they wanted to do. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I knew this was an insult to me to try to block me like this. So I took it personally. I said, I know what they're going to try to do. I know where I'm going to line up, and if I don't get a sack, then it'll be my biggest failure. And came right up with one just as I anticipated.
AJ, let's see that celebration. That looked like a dab right there, man.
It was a little dab. It was a little orchestra. I was playing the symphony, and then it came out with a little dab. You can see it right here. You always got to think about what your sack dance is going to be. You got to be prepared for the moment. I had that one ready since before the game. So you got to have multiple just in case.
Just let them know. That's inspiring too. I mean, you got to get off on that. They see a big play and a celebration, and tastefully done.
Yeah, and that play in particular, they wanted to be able to create a lot of confusion. They had 3 linemen in the middle of the field. Guys split out on both sides, and that's the type of play that if you're not prepared for it, they could really hit you for a home run there. But I think we had been watching film, we had been prepared, and I definitely knew what to do if we ever got that one.
It's a great example, just Flo Romolati's just quickness. And if you can make a QB reset his feet, his timing, everything is thrown off. And that was an errant throw. It ends up being a 4th down opportunity, and we get the ball back.
4th and 10.
The other thing, and AJ, you've touched on the pass rushing. It's a team effort. The guys up front, everybody's doing their job. And, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a tough job. It's a tiring job. It's one you got to just keep on going and persevere. Look at Rymack making another huge play, another big return for the team. Again, special player, but you can start to feel the energy shifting right here. With the big defensive stop, with this big return, I think this is the moment that we knew, okay, this is our opportunity to take control of the game. We're looking for, again, Rymack was one of those guys to be able to step up and make a big play, and we're looking at each other, who's going to be the next guy.
Fun to see the guys in the bed. Devon Stockman, just saw him just jacked up and jumping around. Everybody's plugged in. That's the thing I love about our program and our team. If you're not involved actively, you're involved visually and verbally.
A passing play.
That's right. Big Diesel. And a fan favorite for sure.
He's one of the best fans on the team, AJ.
Oh, a great hype guy. Great hype man. We formed circles around him. He would get the team going. Loved having him there. And that's an example of a guy who, stuck with the program, was able to eventually start to contribute, and here it goes.
So again, they've been
Another big play.
Yeah, they've been pressuring us. So one answer for pressure is either run a draw or screen, where you invite those D linemen upfield, just like 71 there, and then you send the blockers in front. Josh Clark with a good block. Now I got in the way of somebody, but Bramble did a good job just following us. We're going to come back to that play later on.
Yeah, you guys do a nice job with the screen as well. You got to be a play actor. Show pass protection, then let a guy go and get out and throw something downfield. The quick hitter, those things, again, they're aggravating to a defense, and just keep inching the change forward.
Absolutely. And this is another moment where, we mentioned you could get frustrated just taking a chunk here, a chunk there, slowly moving it down the field. And I think the energy, again, is in our favor. So I think, if I'm on the defensive side of the ball now, I'm getting nervous. You're thinking what's going to happen next. We can't stop them. They're getting at least a couple positive yards here and there. And, you can really feel it kind of going our way.
Yeah.
It's a nice dump down to Kyle Bramble. Little play action fake screen in the field, and just his presence, Dalen's drop it back off. And just picking up a first down. It's not first and goal on the 9. Those are kind of the hairy ones as well. You got a long way to go.
Takes the snap. He hands it off to Bramble. There's not much room.
Yeah, another thing we saw when we ran that screen, now they're starting to ease off a little bit with the blitz. So that last play, Dalen had a little bit of a cleaner pocket because now they're thinking, okay, maybe we can't pressure them. Maybe they're going to run another screen or they're going to run another draw. And so, that's having a positive effect on us in other parts of the offense.
So Dalen's coming up there, giving the line the call, and then we make our calls from there, who we're double teaming. Again, they brought pressure, one more than we had, and that was their game plan when we got in the red zone.
Yep. Yeah, it's getting tense down here for the players. Sometimes not so much, but for the coaches, man, you hang on.
Do you remember if you're going sorry, I was going to ask, if you're going to field goal for sure, Coach, if you don't get the touchdown here, or is it still up in the air?
No, it's still kind of up in the air. You want to see what the end result is. Do you lose yardage? Do you gain yardage? How close are you? The confidence you have in your offensive group. We've done an awful lot with going for it on fourth down, and have had pretty good success over the course of time. But it's always a question. This one was fairly easy. Just too great a distance. And certainly a big. We've both missed field goals to date. So for GAC, just the ability to forget. Forgettability, as I term it. Just say nothing else matters. What's happened, just go do what you know. Protect up front, get the ball down, nice snap, which Peterson does a great job. Kepler gets the ball on the ground and up and through. And it's a big emotional lift with obviously not a whole lot of time left in the ballgame.
Yeah. You guys thinking overtime at this point? 5 minutes to go?
Yeah, everything crosses your mind. The kickoff, what are you going to do there? Can you pin them deep? And then what are we going to do defensively? Can we get the ball back to the offense? How are they going to play? Conservative play for the overtime? But this, you got to pin somebody down. You can't let them really establish an emotional lift. And we do a pretty good job. There's a good return guy with great speed. But keeping them down their end of the field was huge. Riley Lyon.
As a defensive guy, we obviously have the momentum in our favor. We've had a bunch of 3 and outs already during the game, and you're thinking with not much time left on the clock, you got to get another one. So we definitely had a little bit of pressure on us here, but obviously wanted to perform and wanted to get the ball back in our offense's hands.
This is really team football where, hey, defense, we got to stop them. Offense, we got to get down and put points on the board to win the ball game.
quick pitch to Atwater to the right. He tries to stretch it out. He's got a little bit of room across the 30 and gets taken down at the 34-yard.
And then strategically, with timeouts, it's always, I'm of the mindset, save them till the very end. And we hate to waste them. Somebody forgot something. We get too many guys in the field or whatnot because they become critical at the end of ball games.
Yeah, I think on the sideline here, we were already, Coach Clark was scheming and talking about what we were going to do as soon as we got the ball back. He had that much confidence in the defense here.
It's a great job, pass breakup. Charlie Miller. Charlie, steady, quiet, man. He didn't say anything, but just a heat-seeking missile. Yeah, great speed in the back end. Made a bunch of plays for us. And that right there, that's critical breakup.
Yeah, got to be the fastest guy I've ever played with. But yeah, you see guys starting again getting some push. Cody pushing them back in the middle. Flo getting around the edge. Even Sawyer on the other side, circling around. So guys really want it now. They're getting hungry and they're starting to get some pressure.
Uh-oh.
And a huge play.
There we go.
David Caldwell, North Carolina's finest. Huge. But pressure.
Exactly what we needed.
You know, guys just kind of reaching down a little bit. Hey, guys are getting tired and so forth. With a little bit of heat. That's Sawyer Whalen. Just the awareness. And look at the number against 4 guys around the football.
Yeah.
It's the old tip drill in football as well.
Yeah, it's one where, had to be perfect in order to bring that ball in. So many guys around the ball, and if you can't fit that in right in that little basket, it's going to look bad, and it's going to go the other way, and that's exactly what happened.
But the fun thing in the buzz on the sideline, we get great field position, we get plenty of time, an opportunity to make something special happen. Oh, yeah, you got it.
We got it.
Play.
That's pretty good by Coach Clark there. I like it.
It really is. And I think it's funny on the sidelines, you kind of hear the play, and then you see guys try to act natural. So they're standing there super still to not let the other team know what we're going to do. And at the same time, we're also probably doing the exact opposite. But, you got everybody standing up, waiting to see what's going to happen and just kind of being quiet, being silent. Are we going to hit this home run? Every time the run gets called, it's my favorite play.
Typically every week you have 1 or 2 special or trick plays in like that. And so every walkthrough we go through that play and they did a great job executing it right there.
Yeah, it's always, the players always want, they want that play. And from a coaching standpoint, sometimes we overthink and, when and what if. But it's fun when you call them and fun when they work.
Rambles the running back. He looks left. The throw. Catch made. The catch is made by Houston Brown.
Anybody give McManus a hard time for the underthrow there?
At the end of the day, they jammed him up pretty good. But as long as we came out with a win.
Yeah, if they hadn't thrown the penalty flag, we might have been a little more harsh on them.
That's right.
It worked out.
You got to give him a chance to catch it. So better an underthrow than an overthrow, right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
That's the voice of a friend right there.
That one's for you, Rymack.
Man, I'll tell you, I can feel my nerves kind of get going right now. You're a human, so you're on the sideline, man. You're into it as well. You get excited and you're nerved up. Had a chance.
Very close one there.
Really,
definitely a tough catch. I'm kind of surprised he didn't hold on to it though. But just how good he's been and how sure his hands are. I definitely thought he'd hold that one in.
Yeah,
Another
long
play where, yeah, go ahead.
well within his range.
Here is the snap, spotted at the 39. The kick goes slicing wide left. Gakenheimer had the leg.
And that's what, hey,
Another
just
one,
buckle up and go play.
Yeah.
I was going to say another one where the sidelines are dead silent. Guys are nervous. Guys are waiting to see what's going to happen, and all you can do is watch. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one, but I think we knew as a defense we were ready. We knew we had to go back out there and make a play and get the ball back.
Yeah, man, mental durability, emotional toughness. Hey, you got to forget it. You can't change it. Let's go make something else happen.
Yeah, I completely forgot all this. I thought we scored on that drive. It's crazy. How are we all back here, dude? What?
I thought we scored 2 drives ago, too.
Oh, what?
Yeah, this is why coaches have gray hair.
Yeah.
Or no hair. Pull it all out.
I'm sweating right now, man.
Wow.
Again, you go back, and again, the poise under duress. Just do your job. You get in trouble sometimes, and especially younger players, guys will try to do more than their job. Get out of a gap, occupy a different drop zone, break a route too early, try to overcome or double team somebody. That's where you break down. In stress situations, do your job.
I do remember it was packed that game. The entire, you can see the visitor side, but the home side was full. So I just remember how electric it was to be able to play in front of that crowd.
With the Florence Center too, that sound just stays right on the field.
Yep.
It's so loud. There we go.
Okay, there we go, Cody.
Cody, there we go.
The final play of his Dartmouth career. Cody Fulton gets a sack.
Love it.
Pulls out a big one for the team.
I think you had a little better celebration, but this is just a Cody bull rush. I'm stronger than you. I'm just going to go get it.
Yeah, just road grip right there.
Yeah, that's one thing he knew. He was stronger than everybody he went up against, and he made you feel that. But yeah, no, great play, clutch play. To be able to come up with that by Cody Fulton.
Well, kind of the nice thing is we had such a talented defensive line that made our offensive line better, and we had a talented offensive group. So kind of iron sharpens iron type of thing.
Yeah. So I'm sure at this point we're not thinking field goal here because we've missed I think 3 at this point. So I'm sure in the offense everybody's like, let's go put this thing in the end zone.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting in that, and I do remember this. There was an air of confidence, not arrogance, just going out and breaking the huddle and going, hey, let's take care of business. And that was needed at that point. You can't panic. Just go play.
You got to go 63 yards for an Ivy League title right here. Let's go.
It's not a bad way to start.
Yeah, let's get the ball to go.
You see the sideline too. Just watching the sideline, the enthusiasm, the energy. Yeah, I do wish we could have the crowd noise with this.
Oh yeah,
I know. It's just right now.
Classic curl pass.
Excited.
Yep, like versus a zone look. And Dalen did a nice job delivering the ball.
Dalen was always a great 2-minute drill quarterback. He just knew where to go with the football. I don't know if that's something you're born with or it's just something you practice over and over, but you'll see on this drive, we just got up to the ball and we were going until we called the timeout here at the end.
You got a great competitor, and that's it. Stakes are high. He showed his best. And he's given time too. From a pass protective standpoint, we're 2 for 2. A little bit more zone that they're showing. It's a big run as well.
Yeah. Let's tuck it. Let's go.
Yep. And people just taking care of their business, doing their job.
Yeah, pretty good set by Dave Morrison, the left tackle. Josh Clark stuck with his guy. That's where Dalen kind of fell in the left side there.
3 to the right, 1 to the left. Dalen dropping back, steps up, throws across the middle, and Sam Laptad.
It's Sam Laptad again, I believe. And that could have been disastrous.
Could have been disastrous, but I think, falling the ball, Bramble right there. That I forgot that play. That's a point.
That's all. And we talk about it, guys hustling to the ball, play to the whistle. Kyle is down, pops up off the ground, right behind.
Yeah,
that's right. And Bramble is up and running before he even sees the ball come out. That's just pure hustle. That's the type of guy he is, and he just never gives up on a play.
So I think we take a timeout here pretty soon. It might not be this play. It might be the next. But we're running out of time here.
Yep, you're that close. You don't need much. And the key, you don't want to give them a whole lot of time to operate on the back end with.
So I don't know what you remember about that timeout, but I remember I was like, we have to run the screen here. So it worked earlier. Let's see if it works again.
Well, I actually think you guys prompted the thought. And we do frequently. We'll ask, hey, how you feeling? What do you think? How do you? And you guys, you're playing the game. And again, smart guys. And it was a good team call. Certainly, Coach Clark making the choice, but we listen to input from a lot of different areas. And this was huge.
Huge.
Absolutely.
We got a little dab on
crazy.
Here you go. Josh Clark, 78's going to go out. I'm going to go out 63. Nico's behind for the rack kill.
Yeah.
Josh throws a block, gets a piece, and Bramble. And Steve's going crazy. Coach Steven's clapping him up.
I'm always looking for flags.
There we go. I was expecting the headset throw or something, Coach Steven.
Hey, game's not over yet. We still got 24 seconds left. Can't hit him with the water cooler just yet.
No.
But you see the stands behind, everybody's buzzing, they're all on their feet. It's a wonderful feeling to win one like this at home. Especially the drought, the long period of time between. You see Kyle does a nice job kind of hiding amongst the big guys, and we got the big fellas running down inside. Just got a little bit of peace, but that's all deviate the chase lane of the defender, and we create a scene for Bramble to get into the end zone. Awful quiet on the other sideline, though.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad they showed this replay a couple times on the broadcast. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's Josh Clark, exactly right, man. Hard-working dude.
Yeah.
So this is always a decision. Okay, do you kick the ball away? Do you squib it? Do you roll it down the field? Do you allow them an opportunity to return? The thing you don't want to do is obviously kick it out of bounds. Because they did have a pretty good returner. But those are kind of the subtle choices that you make. Riley Lyons. Riley's an optometrist right now. Did a very good job for us out of Atlanta. It's kind of a sky kick. And the thought is keep it away from the good returner, but get it deep enough so that they don't have great field position. Minimal time, 20 seconds. They probably don't have maybe one timeout to go. Make a stop. They're going to chuck it.
As a D lineman, this is your dream right here. You get an opportunity to, it's going to be a pass. They got to get a bunch of yards. So dial up your best move and see what you can come away with. Even though we're only rushing 3 right now, so I know in the middle there I got to take on about 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 guys. But you see the pressure. You see guys trying to get home.
But even that, they got a 5 or 6 on 3 advantage. And we're getting home.
The pocket throws across the middle, incomplete. Intended target was the gadget player, Kendrick Bostic.
8 seconds. Yeah, that clock takes a while, doesn't it?
If that catch is made,
It felt like forever on the field, I'll tell you that. 24 seconds never felt so long. I'm trying to put the game away.
Yeah, 8 seconds, what do? You try to get the first down. I'm not sure what they have left for timeouts. Can't see that. They had, looks like
they used their last one.
They brought Will Constant on the field to pass rush up there at the top.
Yeah, it's not going to do it.
And that's it.
They're out of timeouts. That's why you always save them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. I mean, that's the unforgettable to me, just to see just the joy and enthusiasm and excitement of the guys. You know, something they've worked so hard for, and that's the satisfaction in coaching right there. See that happiness.
Yeah, an amazing moment. I mean, you come in as a freshman, especially coming into a program that hasn't won a championship in a long time. Guys are just starting to turn it around. A couple losing seasons, just before you arrive, and this is the exact moment you worked so hard for. It was an amazing moment to see. We pulled through, and it came right down to the wire, but was worth every second of it.
Yeah, I remember freshman year going to those winter lifts, and just all the work that was put into this championship was just like, this was completely worth it to be able to bring that trophy back to Hanover. It wasn't just that season. It was 4 years of our class and that leadership deciding we're going to be the class that gets it done.
Yeah, C7 Troy Donahue wasn't able to play, injured.
Yeah.
Just the sense of satisfaction and accomplishment and achievement doing it together.
Patty Clancy, Jordan Greenwood right there.
Dan Gorman.
Yeah.
The whole crew. It makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it? All the sweat and the tears and the grind and the duration. And it does. It lasts a lifetime, too. Forever, you guys, you got your rings, you got your memories, and the sense of accomplishment. And this really kind of...
I'm going to have to go break my ring out and put it back on for a second. It's been a little while.
There you go.
Get one of my jerseys, get the ring, and just, light up a cigar, relive the moment or something.
I think it's cool to see what that championship did for the program, AJ, is that they were able to win another one that wasn't just like a one-off. It was, the first of a pattern of just Dartmouth football being back like we were for so long. So it's cool to go back to the games and have my little brothers a part of those teams and be like, yeah, you guys are good now, but we're the class that started it. So
yeah,
it is special. You guys can take tremendous pride in it. And you're exactly right. You learn how to win. You learn how to compete. You learn how to finish. And you guys did a wonderful job demonstrating that to the guys that followed.
As we reach the end of the broadcast, guys, this is now each of your chances to do your individual sign-off. Any shout-outs you want to give, any final thoughts on the game, anything at all, the floor will be yours individually. I got to tell you, I think we saved our best for last. That was great to watch that game with you guys, really to kick back and enjoy it like our viewers on YouTube did as well. It was a lot of fun. And now I know, Jacob Flores, that not only were you executing the game-winning play, you might have masterminded it. So give us your thoughts on the game as a whole.
Yeah, it was just such a culmination of everything. I remember after the game, my family being on the field and my little brothers coming onto the field, and then now going back to games where they're up there. It all started because I got a recruiting letter from what I thought was pronounced Dartmouth at the time. And, I've come to learn that it's Dartmouth. And just I would just say thank you to Coach T for recruiting me out of Arlington, Texas, and, changing the course of my life and my little brother's lives. And I would just encourage any recruits, if you get the chance to go play for the Big Green, it's a life-changing experience. So take it.
Thanks, Jake. It's been great having you. AJ, you're up next. I mean, you were all over the place. It was great to hear you relive this a bit. It felt like it kind of came back to you more as the game went on, but those last few moments, certainly the most memorable.
For sure. And, it's really great to kind of relive the moment. Wish I could get back with all the guys and see them all again. But it's a really special time, a really special moment for our program, for, every single player, for all of our family members, for all the people that were there that day. I try not to remember and relive. It's always a part of me. And I'll never forget, the day we won the Ivy League championship. Thanks for bringing me into the program. Coach T was one of the biggest reasons I came in. My brother having played for him before at Stanford, and one of the probably best people I've ever met in my life. Again, thank you for bringing me in. Thanks for having me on today, and been a pleasure kind of reliving this and walking through it with you guys.
AJ, thank you very much, and Coach T. One of my favorite lines from the broadcast from Wayne Young, the color analyst, was a lot of people talk about the drought or the former drought at that point, but now they've got more Ivy League titles than anybody. That still stands today. And when you look at the collective accomplishments of this program, no one's really ever going to talk about that drought again. It's just a blip on the radar of what was and now is an incredible program. I know it's got to make you feel great.
Well, it's fun to see and hear guys, AJ and Jacob, just the experience that they had, and just special human beings. At Dartmouth, that's what we recruit. The families that you don't see on the field, but the moms and the dads and the grandparents and so forth. It's a family environment. The guys, they truly care about each other. They love each other. They will be friends and in contact for life. And to be a part of that is, especially as a Dartmouth alum, is tremendously special. And to have an opportunity tonight to go through a very, very memorable game and really a direction-changing game for the football program. These guys, the time and effort they put in, their teammates, and to see the closeness they have, the memories they share, and the success that we've achieved. It's just fun to be a part of it. So thank you and Tyler and Ben and Rick Bender for conceiving this idea and putting it out there. I'll feel badly not doing something next week, but we'll look forward to the future and certainly to relive the past as often as we can.
Thanks a lot, Coach. It's been a blast to do this year. And before we sign off, congratulations to Jacob. He's married now, living in Dallas. AJ, congrats on the dog, who you're raising very well, we understand. And Coach T, an undefeated virtual season, 10-0 the Big Green. So congrats to you on that. And to all you watching out there, thanks so much for joining us every Saturday. We can't wait to get back to the gridiron for real up in Hanover. But while we wait, it's been fun to connect with former coaches and players and really soak it in. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for all your support, and go Big Green.